Hi, thanks for coming back. Um, this is Who Do We Think We Are, Part 4. And it is a question, even though I can't list it as a question on YouTube. But it is a question of I want you to grasp this is what we're doing. We think we're something that we're not. We're acting out that like uh, we're these beings that we really aren't. I want to use this piece of scripture from the Holy Bible. Like I said, this is all about getting you to understand um, Jesus Christ is returning. And the Holy Spirit told me these things. And this is just a little over a year ago, actually, more than a year and a half ago. And he didn't really just tell me he was coming, he actually showed me. He wanted me to actually read the book, and I hate to read, like I mentioned earlier. I despise reading, but made me read the book, even though it's like 2,000 pages long in comparison to a normal book. Anyways, let's go to Jeremiah, first chapter 5. Okay, it said, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you." Before you were in the womb, I knew you. Wow. That means before we were in the womb, God is saying, we were something else. We were already, if you listen to the words carefully. Okay. So what does this mean? This means that before we were physical, we were there already, and God knew us. So if you can get this, you get a little bit more of an understanding that you are spiritual. You are not these things that we walk around in. We are spiritual. We came from God, and we are of God. So this deception into believing that we're here, we're going to die, and nothing else happens after that is completely fictitious. So let me show you some more in-depth stuff, okay?
We thought it was our water.
We all know that there's some crazy stuff happening out there, eh? I mean, we've got government agents coming up to us, telling us that we're all equal. They make demands upon us that we know we could never make upon them. Where's the equality? On the screen, there's a little baby. That's Elizabeth Annie Lane. She's a little baby, came into my life about 4.5 years ago. 2 days after the birth of Elizabeth, ministry workers came in, removed her. No investigation, no assessment. Claimed she only had one caregiver. We said, "You're wrong, we're a family, we're going to meet you in court." They told us if we tried doing that, they'd see to it she spent the first 5 years of her life going from foster home to foster home to foster home. Shut me up in court, cost me my baby. Folks, anyone who knows me, shutting me up even for a moment is a bit of a trick. They cost me my baby. I sat down with their Act Black's Law Dictionary on one side, Bouvier's on the other. I had an Old English dictionary. I looked up every single word in there. It took me 3 days and I finally saw it. Have you ever seen these laser pictures? You see nothing until you focus past it, and then a 3D picture pops into your head. Have you seen those? This is exactly what I saw when I did my statute deconstruction. I looked through and I suddenly saw what they were doing. This is their little trick. You are not obliged to register your children. If you do, it is at that point that you're creating a legal entity or a person. You are associating this person with your offspring. You are abandoning ownership or title to that person, and the government is seizing that under the laws of maritime salvage. It becomes their chattel property. They use it as collateral to float loans or to float bonds for loans. When they come to remove a child, they're not acting on the human being at all. They're removing the legal entity you created and abandoned and they now have title to. That's your person. That is what the government acts upon. A human being and a person are not the same thing. We've been led to believe that they are, but they're not. In Black's Law Dictionary, you'll find a definition of a person, and it says, a human being is not a person because he is a human being, but because rights and duties have been ascribed to him. Specifically, the person is that legal subject or substance of which the rights and duties are attributes. But not all human beings are persons, as was the case in Old England when there were slaves.
Where are 1% of American adults?
Oh, I imagine we could find out, couldn't we? We could use Google Earth, because some of them are quite big. There's one. He's got his own postcode.
1% of the population, which is, what's the population? It's about
300 million, isn't it?
So you're talking about between 2.5 and 3 million, say?
Jail.
Yes. G for jail. English spelling of jail, of course, but it is G for jail.
Really, that many people? 3 million people are locked up.
Well, 2.3, which is 1 in every 99.1 adults.
All of those guys there are innocent as well, because they all were arrested for having switchblades, but they've all only got one arm.
Well spotted. Proportionally, the Americans prison more than twice as many as South Africans, more than 3 times as many as the Iranians, more than 6 times as many as the Chinese. No society in history has imprisoned more of its citizens than the United States of America.
We're doing pretty well, though, don't we? We sort of top the European League.
We're ahead of China, Turkey, and India.
Yes.
Yeah, with 148 prisoners per 100,000.
It's the 3 strikes and they're out.
That's been
really
the problem. Yeah.
I mean, a legal system based on baseball just seems bizarre. Yes. We don't seem to understand the law. It's all very complicated. What's simple? What do people like? Baseball. Right then. Here's the rule.
3 strikes and you're out. Yeah.
Mental.
What it means is if the first 2 strikes, the first 2 crimes you're convicted of are serious enough, the third one, no matter how trivial, will get a life sentence, 25 years or more. So, for example, Leandro Andrade is serving 2 consecutive 25-year terms for shoplifting 9 videotapes.
He took 9?
Yes. Kevin Webber, 26 years for stealing 4 chocolate chip cookies. It's astonishing.
It's really stupid, isn't it? Because if you know you're on this sort of deal...
Yeah.
Take 5.
Yes.
That is the idea, obviously.
Do another murder. Do a bank job. There's no point...
There's no point doing anything trivial.
If
No,
you're
I know.
gonna get caught.
It is a bit bonkers. But the racial numbers are a bit worrying, and the gender numbers. It's 1 in 30 men aged 20 to 34 is behind bars. But for black males, that's 1 in 9. 1 in 9. There are more 17-year-old black people in jail than in college. So 5% of the world are American, 25% of all prisoners
Isn't the real
are American.
controversy with this the business end of it?
Well, that's true. It's also, as you say, right, so it is a business.
Because it's not just license plate, they make loads of stuff.
Well, one of the things I should have said when talking about contraband is that you're not allowed to bring into America anything that's being made by forced labour or prison. But in America, you could almost say, if you were so minded, that they've reinvented the slave trade. They produce, for example, 100% of all military helmets, ammunition belts, bulletproof vests, ID tags and other items uniform, 93% of domestically produced paints, 36% of home appliances, 21% of office furniture, which allows the United States to compete with factories in Mexico because, of course, obviously the workers can't refuse to work for 25 cents an hour.
I very much like to say something hilarious, but something must be done.
It is.
It feels a bit more question-timey to say.
It is a bit amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's slavery by the back door.
Exactly, isn't it?
Plenty for you to work.
You get solitary confinement if you refuse to work. Yeah, more than 1 in 100 American adults are in jail.
Yes, free labor, basically. It doesn't make any difference whether you're in jail or out of jail. You're basically a corporation that you do not own, and you are owned by the establishment, the queen, basically. So whether you're in jail, it doesn't matter, even though these people are going to jail for no real reason because they're hungry. It's scary. So watch some more, please, about rule changes.
Please tell me what they look like. Did they see
Many years later, one of your own sons turned out to be gay.
Said, Dad and Mum want to sit down and talk to you. She started to cry, and I don't want to embarrass you, Dad. I don't want to upset you, but I'm gay. And I said, so? I still love you.
My name's Jeff Thomas. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm a plumbing contractor. I'm a proud father of a gay son. Could you please explain to me that in a country that prides itself on freedom, equality and tolerance, how it is that denying same-sex couples the right to marry is in any way, in any sense, fair.
Marriage is between a man and a woman. What I'm going to say now is going to disappoint you. Between a man and a woman.
You sit there as a Prime Minister that's abandoned that basic principle of treating every Australian equal under the law.
Hundreds of gay rights campaigners have staged a wedding march with a difference in Melbourne.
Protesters marched in Sydney.
50 members of Adelaide's gay and lesbian...
Brisbane, 1,000 people gathered to celebrate.
Because motherhood and fatherhood are important, and there are consequences. Motherhood and fatherhood are not
Every day of the week at the moment, men and women are getting away with no intention of having children and with no biological possibility of having children.
That makes no.
I'm not saying gay parents are any lesser parents.
There was nothing I can say. I know what my family is worth.
Support for marriage equality has come a long way.
Today, a motion in the Tasmanian Parliament gave the thumbs up to same-sex wedlock.
This year, it's gone up to 62%.
But in a historic policy shift, the Labor Party has agreed to legally recognise same-sex marriage.
You're forced into this position where you almost feel like you have to choose.
There should be no homophobia or discrimination anywhere in this world.
Just let love be love.
Young gay people are killing themselves. It's not fine.
Wow, that is a sensitive clip, and they use, or the establishment uses, our emotions against us, basically to divide us on what they want to change, and they use this with media and the division of our caring for one another. In one part here, you see they're showing that we can love each other if we're wanting to have same-sex relationships. But on the other hand, the establishment will allow wars to go on and us to be destroying and killing innocent little children and men and women. Let's not just concern ourselves about the children that are dying at a rampant rate, and the deceit of lies telling us that it's their own people doing it to themselves after so many years. There is clear documentation about what was planned beforehand in the Middle East as far as the wars are concerned, and it actually states or shows the plans that are to come to America or North America in a short time. When it does come here, it'll be quick and it'll be devastating. Of course, nobody understands these things, but that's why the Lord has basically given me this message, I guess, to show that He's coming to save His people, and the time is short. And why He gave me this message, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm doing what I'm doing right now and getting the word out, or trying to anyways. Okay. Look at my next one. This is the last time I'm going to go into who do we think we are, and then my next videos will show who we actually are. It'll state this is who we really are. Okay.